Merry Christmas to you. Wakajeje, the floor is sleeping. Falls is the second leading cause of unintentional injuries deaths globally, with an estimated 684,000 deaths per year worldwide. You have to understand that falls, a slippery floor, amount to a lot of death all over the world. Wunmi Toriola, one of the prominent Nollywood actresses, had a movie recently titled Queen Latifah. In that movie, the character Queen Latifah exploited a shopping mall with a pretense of a fall due to a wet floor without a signage. This cost the mall a lot in damages. That is on damages. Now imagine, for instance, you went to a mall and the mall is being mopped, the floor is being mopped, and you slip, you fall, you have a severe injuries that is now life-threatening. For you to understand this better, we will need to consider a lot of criteria that will help us to understand how we should construct our floor finishings. Number one, the users. Who are the users of this particular floor? You need to consider if it's going to be in a residential building or it's going to be a commercial building. You have to understand those who will be using this particular floor. Are they young? Are they aged? So this is very important. For instance, if you are building a departmental store where it's going to be used by all class of people, from the young to the age, the weak, age people, and even the disabled, a lot of criteria and a lot of things has to be put in place for you to choose the type of floor finishings that will suit that particular building. If it's a personal home residential building that is built for aged people, you also need to consider the type of floor finishings that will help them, because this class of people are weak already with minimal strength. So criteria number one, before we choose the type of material we are going to use for our floor, is the users. Number two is the materials. This is very critical. You have to understand what type of materials are you going to use. After you've identified the users, you need to also start identifying the type of material that is going to be used. Is it going to be a tiles base, a cement base, a timber and wood base, a resilient base, and is it going to be a special materials? This is also very, very important. Then the next one we are going to also consider is the cost. This cost is important to consider, which will help us to have a budget for this particular type of floor we wanted to construct. So the last but not the least is the maintenance. What type of maintenance will you be putting in place for this particular type of floor? So now, the next thing we are also going to be considering is the type of materials. On this type of materials, number one is a tiles-based material. Tiles-based, so we have a ceramic tiles, we have a porcelain tiles, we have vitrified tiles, and we also have a stone. The stone, we have the marbles and the granites. We all know that marbles and the granite, these are very premium, they are luxurious, and it's very, very expensive. So you need to understand what type of material. If you are selecting tiles, you also need to understand the type of tiles that is being required. Are you going to be using ceramic? So if you are using ceramic, you are going to be considering what the durabilities of this particular floor. So if you are using porcelain too, you also need to consider the factors that is being attached to porcelain. If you are using a vitrified tile, so you are using a vitrified, are you expecting it to be a very polished floor? So this is also very important. Vitrified is very, very durable type of tiles also. Now, if another type of material we can also consider is the cement base. This cement base, number one, we have the polished concrete. The polished concrete simply, this is a cement, sand, and granite. So it's made from this aggregate and it's being polished. So just like what we are having a stone floor that's commonly used in the building. So you can have a polished concrete floor. Then number two, you can have the terrazzo. Terrazzo is also considered as one of the type of cement base to be used in a building. So terrazzo most often used in the old buildings. It's no longer popular nowadays, but it's still in use on the special demand for people that really want it. So terrazzo is also cement based, and also the cement sand screed. So if you want to use a cement sand screed, definitely it's not going to be a place that is have a high demand and that require maybe a very good you want it to be very attractive. So that is cement and sand screed. Another type of floor finishes that we can also consider is the resilient. So this type of materials, we are considering the rubber floor. The rubber floor, this is used in the gym. We have the Vini, which is the PVC floor, and we also have the aluminum floor. The aluminum is very eco-friendly type of floor. Then another type of floor that we can also consider, depending on what the users or the client is looking at, is timber and wood. Timber and wood floor. This consists of the laminate floor, a timber floor. So these are type of wood floor that you can as well use in your floor finishings. The last but not the least type of floor materials that we can use are the special floor finishings. Under the special floor finish, we have the epoxy. Just as you know, epoxy is not cheap, and there are limited people that can actually do it better. So, and it's a very, very good materials that require a very detail in construction. So epoxy, if maybe you are building a factory or an industrial place, because that will be exposed to maybe oil and grease and a lot of spillage on the floor, you can consider epoxy on your floor. This is a very good material. Another one is carpet. Carpets, maybe in offices, in the bedroom, you can use carpet. And another type of this special floor is interlocking stone, interlocking paving. So these are being used in floor finishing, most especially in the drive. You see them in the driveway and in the walkway and a lot of places. So this is a very, very good material. And the last but not least is the grass. We also see a synthetic grass being used in every places. It adds a very good values to the areas that is being used for. Now we know the type of materials available for our floor finishes. We now need to now consider the applicability of this material. So how do we use this material? Number one, as we discussed earlier, you will need to understand the use of that particular material. What is the requirement of the client, and what purpose is this building is being constructed? Let's take for instances, if you are building a residential building, you need to consider a lot of factors. If you are using tiles, you are going to use a lot of different type of tiles. If you are using a tiles based finishings in that particular building, so like in the living room, you can decide to use a polished, it's very super polished type of tile, vitrified tiles in your living room. But you cannot use this same type of polished vitrified tiles in the toilet, because it's going to be very, very slippery. So you are going to use a mat which have a raw surface in your toilet. So you can see how all of this play out. Recently, I visited a mall opposite the University of Ibadan, and the mall is having a ramp. That is really the entrance is having a ramp. They don't have a step, into the mall. And that's why that it's not even rainy. The floor is very, very slippery. So I began wondering how people use this particular ramp every day. And I don't have opportunity to discuss with people to know how frequently they experience fall in that particular building. Just as you can see, this is another mistakes that can be made. So, and that is a public building. I believe that ramp was being constructed for the disabled because of wheelchair, and also maybe to take the trolley into the building without providing a step. So you need to understand, if you are building, let's say, a factory, for instance, where there's going to be a lot of spillage on the floor, it might be recommended or advised that you use a material like epoxy, because one, it will help you to have a very good maintenance culture and cleaning. It's easy to clean and to hack off the spilled materials on the floor. So instead of using tiles, and also it has a very good ability to withstand a wear and tears, over time, because if you are using a tiles in some cases and it's a place that's exposed to a lot of traffic, you start seeing wear and tears on the tiles. So you will have to understand all of this so that will help you to take decision, a very informed decision on the selection of materials that will be used in that particular project. Floor finishings is the final stage of floor constructions. So you will like to have a very thoughtful considerations for type of finishings that you should use for your floor. So when next you are in finishing stage and you want to do your floor, you need to put into considerations, one, the users. You have to identify the users of that particular building. Just as we know, we've heard of many cases where people sleep in their bathroom, hit their head on anything, the wall, the floor, and they pass away. These are very common, not especially for the old people, and for people that when this happens, there's no help immediately to assist them to an hospital, and there's a lot of death to this effect. So you identify the users who are going to be the users. You identify the purpose. So what purpose is the building being constructed of? So before you start taking the type of material to be used. Then the next one is the third one is you consider the type of materials that you should use at different locations in that particular building. Then number 4, you consider your budget. What are your budget leading towards this floor finishing? The 5th one you have to consider is the maintenance. What is your maintenance culture? How often would you want to be having a replacement in terms of renovations into that particular building? Then also, now that we'll be able to identify things, criteria for our floor finishing, then we also talk about the materials. We have the tiles base, the cement base, the timber and wood, and the resilient and the special floor finishing. I hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next one. Please subscribe to my channel Bomasun so that you get notification whenever we drop a new